Okay, good morning. Get starting now. Okay, cool. Good morning. It's Saturday. Do the yogas with me. We're going to start in a seated position and let's center ourselves first and then we'll get into it. Okay. So just come to a comfortable seat. If you need to pull the flesh away from your sit bones, and if you're sitting in a chair, that's fine. I'm also going to attempt to do a little bit of throwing some Spanglish. So, if you have any questions or requests as you join in, go ahead and type them in the chat and I'll give it a look. But close the eyes, bring the shoulders up by the ears, down. Se siente en tu cuerpo. Inhalar, exhalar. And begin to feel the breath moving in your body. Se siente su respira en tu cuerpo. En todas las partes de tu cuerpo. And then begin to observe anything that might feel nuanced in the body. So maybe there might be places that might feel a little tight. There might be places that feel a little loose. There might be places that feel neutral. Just observing, we're not judging, just kind of checking in and taking note. And then if you do come across any places that feel a little tight, just think about using your breath to send into that tight place and try to create a little space with your next inhalation. And then as you exhale, you might even make it audible, like a shh. Or just think about sweeping the body with your breath, like you're sweeping cobwebs out of the corners of your house. And then you're thinking of the breath moving all the way up through the crown of the head. As you exhale, think about anchoring into the earth. You'll feel the belly button draw back in the pelvis, and you'll even feel a little tilt in the pelvis to think about anchoring into the earth with your tailbone. You can bring your palms together in front of your heart. Maybe in the small place of your palms, you want to set an intention for your practice, an intención. That can just be to be in your breath. It could be for love or gratitude or compassion. Just let it be one word. That way, if your mind begins to wander, you can bring your attention back to your intention. Let's hold it in your mind and your heart for a moment. Let's inhale together fully. And as you exhale, just follow the mind to the heart, sealing your intention, releasing the palms, bringing the head up slowly, opening the eyes brightly. Good morning. So because of the rain and everything, I don't know if anyone got caught out in there, but I definitely did. And if you have any requests in your body, go ahead and throw them in the chat. We're going to open up some of the neck and face stuff today. So when we begin, this is something that I like to do every morning. And sometimes if I have jojoba oil, this is helpful, but you could also do this in the shower. And so we'll start just by briefly tapping the face. So sometimes whenever the seasons change, you get a lot of lymph buildup, and that's kind of what causes the puffiness in your face if you're not drinking enough water. So I just kind of like to tap around like areas around the eye, a little here in the jaw, near the ear. And then when I'm done doing this, you can do this as long as you like. In the morning, my routine is not set. I kind of like maybe do it for a few minutes. Then I'll make some fists with my knuckles, and I will start to kind of get here from the ear, or your scaling muscle behind the ear, down into the neck, just drawing this is obviously easier with oil, but that can be messy. So try not to pull too tightly on the skin. That's what you don't want to do, because you're not trying to create more wrinkles. You're trying to keep yourself looking young. And what this does is there's some spots in if you've ever gotten acupressure or acupuncture, there are some spots. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this, and there's a little spot above the ear, and I'm kind of like making little circular motions and then drawing down behind the ear. What this does here, like if there's some tight places here that create, collect lymph. And so when I'm draining it down, the reason we want to do the neck first, and if you've ever done any of that, like jade rollers on your face or the little gua sha stone, there's like little techniques to it, which I did not know when I first started, but it's important to do the neck first, because that way, as you start to do the face, the lymph has some place to drain down, right? So when you're done doing the neck, you can take these little parts of your finger and just kind of do, for me, like eyebrows here. This is where, like if you have allergies and stuff or any sinuses, I was worried about being in wet clothes too long after the rain yesterday when we got rained out, that I immediately start to take care of yourself so you can kind of curb any type of illnesses by kind of nipping it in the bud. And that's what I'm kind of doing here. And then there's like a bunch of different videos you can watch online, but generally kind of like to do these ones under the eye. And the same thing, if I'm going all the way up, I'm coming back to that spot behind the ear and draining it down, or at least in my mind, that's how I'm picturing it, right? And then you can shake your hands out, shake your face out. You give yourself some rolls. So with that eclipse energy and moon energy, there's a lot of stuff that's happening. So what we're going to try to do is some twisting today. That way we can release any of that stuff, because twists can be very detoxifying for the body. So you want to like out with the old, and that way you can really manifest and bring into your life what you like. So since we were already working on the neck, take your left hand out to the left, shoulders back, and then you're kind of taking it out. And what I'm doing is I'm just drawing my gaze down towards the right to open up the scaling on the left, maybe tilting the head slightly. And just breathing into that side of the neck. You can roll chin to chest, and then we'll take it to the other side. So now I'm extending my opposite arm, and my gaze goes over. Now you'll notice my shoulders are not coming up to my ears. My shoulders are staying down. So I'm creating space here. You just want to breathe into the opening of the neck. Release shoulder. Let me scoot back a little so you can see everything I'm doing. We'll inhale, take the arms out and up. And as we exhale, we're going to take a twist over to the left. So my right hand comes to my left knee, and behind, I'm using my fingertips. I'll show you from the side. My fingertips are coming behind me to kind of tense up. That way I am finding the length in the spine. Here, as I exhale, the belly button is drawing back, and that's where the twist is coming from. So I'm not really cranking my arms, and the head will be the last thing. So as you exhale, really think about drawing the belly button back. It's like we're wringing our spine out. Take one more breath here. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep the twist, but we're going to take our gaze over that opposite shoulder. So kind of the same thing that we were doing at the beginning. You feel it in that scaling of the left side of the neck. And then as we release the twist, you're going to bring that left hand to your right knee. So you kind of make a crisscross. We're going to inhale here. As you exhale, curl it all in. So you're feeling it in the back. Let your head be heavy. And then we'll release it, roll the shoulders out. This time, as we inhale, we'll take the arms out and up, and then we'll exhale to the opposite side. So the same thing here. Now I'm using those right fingertips to roll the shoulders back. Find the length, and as you exhale, belly button draws back. You might have one stronger side than the other, and that's perfectly normal. We're not judging our bodies, we're just observing. So same thing here, we're gonna keep the twist, but we'll take the gaze over that opposite shoulder, just breathing into the right side of the neck now, or your opposite side. And then when we release the twist now, right hand comes over to left knee, exhale, curling in. And then we'll release. We'll come into some seated cat-cow. And I like to do this one just because it kind of, there's a couple of ways to do it. You could put your hands on your knees, or some people like to grab at the ankles. Now, for this variation, I'm going to grab my ankles because as I inhale and take the nose up towards the ceiling, I find that it opens my chest a little bit more as I exhale to the chest. So we're kind of activating the heart chakra here from the front and the back. And if you don't know about chakras, that's okay. Just take what resonates for you and leave the rest. Last one. As we inhale and then exhale, shake it out. And let's come into a tabletop position. If you want to do cat-cow here, you're more than welcome to. But I'm having my shoulders will be directly underneath my wrists, and my hands are, it's not ideal to be on a carpet because of the pressure, but you know, you can work with what you have. Hands spread out actively. And when I say that, I mean like you're drawing your index finger and your thumb isometrically towards one another. So what this does is this activates the muscles in the hands and it protects your wrists. We'll keep a micro bend here. You can inhale, draw the belly down, tailbone to the sky, exhale, chin to chest. Now feel free to close the eyes and move a little more intuitively or organically with the body. So that means if you need to take it into cat pose to child's pose and link those together for Chakravarkasana, you can do that. If you need to make some circles with your hips, ask your body what it wants to do and then do that. Just for a few moments of breath. The next time you come through a tabletop, what we're going to do is kind of get into the shoulder girdle. Since we said we're going to open up the neck, and sometimes with the opening that, we'll want to open the shoulders. So you're going to take your hands a little bit wider than shoulder distance, and maybe even your knees too. And if you would like, you can tuck the toes. I think this is sometimes called bear pose. As you inhale here, as you exhale, you can start to make figure eights in your shoulder. Now you can move with the body and the breath, linking them if you want, or just kind of making figure eights, maybe taking it in the other direction. If you want to growl like a bear, by all means, you're at your house, so you can do that. Do you ever have those dreams? Like, I don't know if it was the weather or not, but like, I definitely was feeling like I had worked out or did something. I was lifting something heavy in my sleep for sure. So, si siente en tu cuerpo. En tus abrazos. And breathe with your breath. Then we'll come back to neutral position. You can bring your wrists directly underneath your shoulders once again. And this time we're going to warm up the back of the calf muscle by extending the right ball of the foot back. Now here you may just rock back and forth, warming up that calf, warming up the ankle. And then from here, if you want, you can extend that leg out. So we're coming into cat pose. You'll notice that I'm not extending, keeping my hips fairly square. My toes are activated and drawing down. When I say active, that means it's like I'm pressing out onto the earth, like I'm standing. Now you can stay here, Or if you want, you can extend the opposite arm, drawing the shoulder back and everything's drawn towards the midline, towards the center of the body. Inhale here. You can stay here and just count, or if you want, you can exhale, draw the elbow and knee together. Inhale, extend. Exhale. Draw it in slowly, moving with the breath. Now on this last one, I'm going to plant my left hand. We're going to come into a side plank variation. So if you want with this bottom knee, you can keep it straight, or you can kind of make a little kickstand. I'm stacking the hips, and if you want, you can bring that top hand onto that top hip, and then you're here. You can extend the top arm out. So what I'm doing when I'm extending the top arm is I'm drawing the shoulder blades in the back. I'm leaning my head back a little, and there is where I find the mobility in my neck to take my gaze up towards the thumb. But if that's not okay for you or your neck, then that's okay. If you're feeling really frisky and you want to come into a half moon, like a modified half moon, you can lift that top leg and try to find your balance. As you exhale, hands, knees, inhale, cow pose, exhale, cat pose. And then we'll take it to the other side. I'm gonna turn around so my back will not be too. So now I'm extending the left ball of the foot back, rocking back and forth. And just waking up that ankle in the back of the calf muscle. And then as you're ready, you'll lift that, keeping the foot active but the hips square. And then we'll extend the opposite arm, drawing the shoulder blade back. So everything's drawing to the midline. We're not locking anything out. That'll help. That actually helps your balance better if you don't lock everything out. Inhale here. As you exhale, either staying and holding for breath or elbow to knee for 5. Last one. Then we'll plant that hand. We'll come into our side plank variation. You'll notice that my wrist is directly underneath my shoulder on that standing wrist. That's important, but I'm keeping it micro bent, so not locking it out. Shoulders back, shoulders away from the ears. Maybe the gaze goes up towards that top thumb. And the same thing here, if you want, you can check your balance. One side might be stronger than the other. This is obviously my weak side. And then hands to knees, inhale. Cow pose, exhale, cat pose. Just wringing out the spine. So one thing I also like to do when I'm opening up the shoulders and the heart chakra is I like to come into puppy pose. Puppy pose is really fun. I'm keeping my hips over my knees and I'm walking the palms forward so the elbows stay lifted. If you want, you can bring your forehead down to the earth. You can also try to get your chin down like Iyengar, like in those books. I've been working on that one for a minute, but ugh. And just breathe up the back of the heart. So you're feeling it in your armpits, you're feeling it all around that shoulder girdle. And if anything feels sticky or tight, same thing here. Think about using your breath to sweep the body. So inhale here, maybe exhale a little more forcefully, like shh, or whatever. One more breath. And then from here, keeping the hips over the knees, we're going to come into a dolphin arm. So what I mean by that is I'm going to grab opposite elbows here. My elbows are underneath my shoulders. And then my hands kind of come like such. So you want to have good form here, a little triangle, so an equilateral triangle. So palms can be together. You can interlace the hands however you like here. So when we're here, the difference with this is that we're still going to use like a cat-cow motion. So as I inhale, I'm drawing my heart forward. My tailbone is pointing towards the sky. As I exhale, chin to chest, belly button back towards spine. So it's still that cat-cow motion, but you'll notice the spaces for which the breath moves into that upper body. Take one more. And then slide out onto the belly. Yay! We're gonna get into a baby cobra. So feet should be hip distance apart unless you have anything going on in your low back. Then I recommend keeping the feet wider, so you can even take them off the mat. We're rooting into the 10 toe pads, and I'm also rooting into my pubic bone. And so you'll even see, I don't know if you can tell from there, but my knees are a little bit lifted off of the mat, and that's because I am rooting down. And what that creates when I root down into the pelvis, it creates space in the low back so you don't compress back there, because we want to protect our backs. And then we'll double check our arms again, so grabbing opposite elbows, and now we're coming out into like a sphinx. Inhale here. And then as you exhale, look over your left shoulder. We'll inhale to center. And then as we exhale, look over your right shoulder. We'll inhale to center here. As you exhale, now we're scrunching the shoulders, chin to chest, just shake it out. And then we'll inhale back to center. Now you can do that same thing again. Or now if you choose, you can come into baby cobra. The difference here is that my elbows are lifted, my hands are a little bit wider, but they're not coming out like such. They're drawing in like scaffolding towards your spine. Shoulders away from ears. Everything is still rooted into the earth. Inhale here. Exhale, maybe look over that left shoulder. And as you inhale to center, exhale over the opposite shoulder. Inhale to center. And then take it down. So either staying with Sphinx or baby cobra, or if you want to go to traditional Ujangasana Cobra pose, I'm going to bring my palms alongside my sternum, rolling the shoulders back and squeezing the elbows towards one another as I inhale. Here my chin is kind of drawing in. I'm thinking about lengthening the crown of the head towards the front of the room, so I'm not compressing the back of the spine. Exhale, just take it down, maybe one cheek or the forehead to the earth, and you're going to do that 2 more times, moving with the breath. After that last one, press yourself up through tabletop. We'll tuck the toes, and we'll come into our first downward facing dog. So give yourself a minute. Once you get to down doggy, you can press and pedal out the feet, being in walking the dog. Just kind of feeling your body. And for me, if you need to drink some water or anything like that, go ahead and take a sip of that. Fix my hair so it's on my face. So we always want to keep a micro bend in the knees. And if you have anything going on in your low back, then I recommend keeping the feet as wide as your mat. And then you kind of, so it's like a shorter, smaller dog. Elbows are micro bent, shake your head out. And then once you've kind of pedaled the dog, find a little bit of stillness. And as you do so, think about breathing up the palms of the hands, all the way up the spine. And as you exhale, out the soles of the feet. So you're making like a circuit connecting to the earth and all that earth energy. You can also do this by thinking about breathing up the soles of the feet, all the way up the back of the spine. And as you exhale, out the soles of the hands, whatever works for you visually. All right. From our shorter dog, so if you're not in a short dog, we'll go ahead and get to there. So that means your pinky toes touching the edges of the mat. Maybe your feet come in about a foot's distance from your regular dog. I'm tenting up on my right fingertips, and we're going to come into a down dog twist. I'm taking my left hand towards my right shin or ankle. So I'm bending that elbow, and the twist is coming from there. Shake your head out. But you're trying to keep the hips square, so that left hip draws back towards the left. And then we'll release. Now I'm going to replace that right hand where my left hand is, and I'm going to take that twist to the other side. So reaching for that left ankle or calf. Right elbow bends, drawing my right hip back towards the right to square the hips. And then release. Go ahead and just pedal your feet, and then start to pedal your feet all the way up to meet your hands. So we come into our first forward fold, Uttanasana. Let your feet be hip distance apart and spread those toes out. Maybe grab opposite elbows here. So if you have really tight hamstrings, I would recommend bending the knees generously and drawing these sit bones directly over the ankles. The tendency here is to lock the legs out and kind of sit back into the heels and the joints instead of breathing up the musculature. Let your head shake yes and no and be really heavy here. Then we'll release the fingertips to the earth, or maybe your palms come to your shins. We're going to come into Ardha Uttanasana. So as I inhale, if your palms are to the shins, I kind of like to keep that little circuitry. Shoulders back, reaching through the crown of the head. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Uttanasana. We're going to move to the breath like that 2 more times. Inhaling, extending halfway. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhaling. Uttanasana. Last one as we move with the breath. This time as you exhale, folding in. On your next inhale, just begin to roll yourself all the way up to standing, maybe taking the arms out to the side. Coming into our very first standing posture. So we're in our Tadasana. Just take a moment here, maybe softening the knees. I like to close the eyes and kind of wiggle side to side and front to back just to see like what is the midline, if I can figure out what that is. And then we'll do a little sun salutation or modified sun salutation to warm up. As we inhale, we'll take the arms out and up. As we exhale, cactus the arms, open the chest. So sometimes if you want to shake your neck out. Since we're opening the chest today, in this variation, we're going to take the hands at the low back, roll the shoulders back and bend the elbows. You'll see your hands can stay at sacrum. Open the heart as you exhale, fold forward. So if it feels good, you can take the hands off the sacrum. Shake the neck out. Continue to draw the shoulders back. One more breath. Exhale, release the hands to the earth or palms to shins as we inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, rolling all the way up. Or if you want to come up with a flat back, that is up to you. Exhale, hand to the heart. All right, inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, cactus the arms. Open the chest. As we clasp behind, maybe take the opposite thumb on top. It might feel a little weird. It always feels weird to me. But and soften the elbows, open the chest. Inhale here, exhale, fold. One more breath. And then exhale, release the hands to the earth or palms to the shins. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bring it all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart. So just take a moment now. We're kind of creating a little bit of heat. Could be these lights for me, but you know, here. And then we'll bring the palms forward, shoulders up and down the back. So now we're in Tadasana. The other one was Samasthiti. Just wanted to make an adjustment to that. I think I called it the wrong thing. And so in mountain pose, think about softening the knees and that same idea of inhaling all the way up from the earth through the crown of the head. And as you exhale, ground yourself into the earth. Let it go. You're going to take that type of breath 2 more times. Exhaling. And last time. All right, we'll inhale. Take the arms out and up. Exhale. We're going to cactus the arms, sink it down, chair pose. So I like to take this cactus arm variation, but if this is too much for your neck, you can always bring the hands alongside the body or also hands to heart. From the side, you'll notice, now some people like to keep their feet together. I like to keep my feet hip distance apart. And some people will pop the booty out. We're not really trying to do that. That's something else. We'll do that another time. But it's more like I'm drawing my pubic bone and my tailbone towards one another without really tucking it in either. So there's finding a nice line. Take another breath. I know you're feeling the burn. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen up halfway. Exhale, let it go. And then as we inhale, we'll take that left foot back and we'll come into a lunge. So I'm keeping my left knee lifted in this variation. My left hand is directly underneath my left shoulder. You'll notice my right hand on top of my right thigh because we're going to come into a twist. Planting here. And the same idea here is that I'm not locking out that standing arm, but I'm also using the belly to make the twist. So I'm leaning slightly back in order to take my gaze up towards that top hand. Take another breath. Then we'll take that top arm back as we gaze down towards that left thumb. I really love this one to open up the neck. And then as you exhale, windmill the hands back, step it back, plank pose. If this plank doesn't work for you, you can come down to your knees. Shoulders are over wrists, belly button draws in, chin towards chest and lengthening through the crown of the head. Take one more breath in your plank. Exhale, maybe knees, tops of the feet, all the way down. If you have chaturanga in your practice and you already want to go there, by all means, inhale. Cobra pose, exhale, take it down and press it back. Down dog. Inhale through the nose and let it go through the mouth. I recommend an audible breath. So however you want to release any tension that you may have in the jaw. On your next inhalation, we will take that left foot up and back, and as we exhale, we'll draw that left foot forward. Now we're coming into the lunge on this side. I am going to keep my position here just so you can see what it looks like from the opposite side. So that right hand is underneath the shoulder. Now, if you have really tight shoulders, sometimes it does feel better to turn the hand out, and you can play with that. Inhale here, find the length. As you exhale, begin to take the twist. Maybe lifting that top arm and gaze towards the thumb. Inhale here. As you exhale, draw that top hand back, gaze down at that bottom thumb. And then windmill the hands. Step it back, plank. 3 breaths here. One more breath. You take it all the way down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, we'll meet in downward facing dog. Inhale through the nose, let it go through the mouth. Inhale, look at your hands, and we'll walk our feet forward to meet our hands. Coming into Uttanasana. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, folding. Inhale, sink it down. We come into that chair pose once again. So hands can be at the heart or cactus. Take a breath, and our next inhalation, we'll lift everything up. And exhale, hands to the heart. Just observe your mind and your body and your breath. Take a moment, creating a little bit of heat. So take a sip of water if you need. All right. Inhale, take the arms out and up. Exhale, cactus the arms, sink the hips. One more breath. So now, if you want, keeping the knees together and the feet together, this might be more helpful. We're going to come into a twist. So from here, sometimes taking the hands to the heart will be better. As we inhale, I'm going to open twist to the right. So I think, yeah, sometimes, I mean, well, if you keep your feet apart, you can still keep your hips square. Sometimes it's just easier when the feet are together so that we can like zip everything up. Inhale to center, exhale, open twist to the opposite side, sink the hips. Inhale, back into chair pose, exhale, fold. Inhale, lift it up, halfway, exhale. Inhale, send the left foot back, and we're gonna come into a high lunge. So in a high lunge, we have our right knee tracking over our right ankle, left knee press back. I'm gonna bring my right palm on top of my right hand. I'm gonna show you what this looks like from the front. Lifting the left arm up. Inhale here. As we exhale, we're crescenting over to the right side. So notice your jaw here, because what we're doing is we're opening up this left psoas and hip. Inhale, bring it back to center. As we exhale, we're gonna open it up into warrior two. So I'm gonna show you from the side so my back isn't to you. So there's a lot of different ways to do warrior two. I am coming from the school of heel to inner arch alignment. Some people like to do heel to heel alignment. I'll leave that up to you. But that right knee still tracks over that right ankle, but it's pressing out towards the right pinky toes. Now I like to keep my palms up in order to keep my shoulders open. Pressing to the outer edge of that left foot. And then gazing over that right middle finger. That's your drishti or gazing point. All right, you want to do some dancing Shiva? Yeah, all right, inhale. Reverse the warrior, so I'm staying in my lunge. Exhale, forearm to thigh. Side angle pose. So we move with the breath. This is the dancing Shiva. On this last one here, take a moment. So I'm using this bottom forearm to press against that thigh to roll the top shoulder open. Inhale here. As you exhale, cactus the top arm, gaze down towards right toe. Inhale. Maybe the gaze goes up or stays neutral. That is up to you. Last one. Then we use that top arm to draw it back. You're gazing down at that right toe. Bring yourself up, heels in, toes out. Goddess pose. So I like to shift my weight from side to side. Inhale, take everything out and up. As you exhale, tongue out. 2 more times, just like that. Let it go. This time as we inhale everything up, parallel the feet, and we're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. So you can grab opposite elbows here, grabbing your elbows, grabbing for your toes. But the same thing here as in your Uttanasana, the tendency is to lock the legs out and sink the hips back. So keep a micro bend so that way your sit bones are in alignment. Well, inhale up halfway. Exhale, let it go. We'll inhale up halfway, and as we exhale this time, we're going to move towards that left foot, coming into a lunge. Maybe take the twist. Exhale, plant the hands, plank pose. One more breath. And take it down. Cobra pose. Exhale. Take it back. Downward facing dog. Oops. Losing my speaker thing. I don't even know if that's making a difference. Inhale, look at your hands, and we'll walk our feet forward to meet our hands. Lifting up halfway. Exhale, folding in. Inhale, your chair. So doing whatever you want with your hands. Inhale, lift it all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart. Take a moment, check in with your breath. Check in with your body. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, chair pose. You can keep your hands at your heart here because we're going to come back into that twist again as we inhale here. This time as we exhale, opening to the left, keeping the hips square. Drawing belly button back to side, maybe sinking the hips down a little bit longer. Coming back to center on the inhale, exhale, opening it up. Inhale your exhale. Fold. Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen up halfway. Exhale. We'll send that Right foot back. Now we're coming into our high lunge on this opposite side. So set up your foundation of your feet. That's really important. If you have any low back stuff, I forgot to mention this on the other side, you're more than welcome to bend the back knee and maybe even keeping that line of your spine, but tilting it forward, if that makes sense. So here I'm going to bring my left palm onto my left thigh, inhaling the right arm up, and now we'll exhale over to the left. So from the front, it looks like such. On your next inhale, we'll bring it up and exhale out, warrior two. So set yourself up. Left knee tracking over left ankle, but pressing outward. The reason we don't want to be wobbling the leg in because that can put a lot of strain on your knee. Palms up, gaze over the middle left finger. All right, dancing Shiva for 3, inhaling, keeping the lunge, exhaling, forearm to thigh. 2 more times, moving with the breath. Stay for this last one here, using that forearm to roll top body up. Exhale, cactus the arm, gaze down. 2 more times. Just reach back with that top arm as the gaze remains down, breathing into your scaling once again. And then on that next inhale, allow yourself to be drawn up, heels in, toes out, goddess pose once again. You can shift your hips side to side. Same thing here with the knees to be tracking over that first 2 toes, actually the second toe. Inhale, bring it all the way up. Exhale, let it go. One more time. This time as we inhale, bring it all the way up. Parallel the feet. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. From our wide-legged forward fold here, we're going to walk our hands out and come into a wide-legged down dog. Just breathe up, the palms down the spine, exhaling out the soles of the feet. And then we'll walk our fingertips back underneath our shoulders, inhaling up halfway, exhaling, folding. This time as we inhale, coming up halfway. As we exhale, we'll walk our hands towards that right foot, coming to our lunge, maybe taking a twist. Exhale, plant the hands, plank pose. Now on this plank, you'll have your option to come into a side plank. So if you want, you can drop that bottom knee and come into a side plank like we did at the beginning of class. Or if you're feeling pretty strong, you can kind of stagger the legs and come into a side plank as such. But you'll notice my wrist is staying underneath my shoulder. You could also stack the feet. You could also lift the top leg if you're feeling like such. You can come back to center, take it to the other side, whichever variation you like. Feel how strong you are. Come back to your plank and then exhale, take it all the way down. This time here, we're going to take 3 cobras. Moving and letting them be as luxurious as possible. And then after your last one, you're just going to kind of make a little pillow and keep your forehead there. Wiggle in your low back. Start to cool down the body now. But notice that earth energy, what it feels like to have the earth just touching your belly and how calming it can be. Open yourself up to that as you exhale. Think about letting go of anything, any tension that you may observe in the body. So from here, we're going to come into an arm opener. I'm going to show you what that looks like from here, because it can be kind of difficult since my arm is kind of away from you. So I'm going to extend my arm out at shoulder height. If you have really tight shoulders, you'll want to keep your palms closer to your hips. Now, remind you, you're still on your belly. So what we're going to do here is we're going to tense up on those left fingertips and roll over. What that looks like, we may have done this last time, I don't remember. Will look like such. So my top foot is behind that bottom knee, and you can use this hand in front that's tensed up for overpressure if you like. Now for me, I thinking about the space between your ear and your shoulder. We've been working on that today. Relax your jaw. Temple should be on the earth. And if this is like way too easy for you, if you want, you can try to bring both knees up towards the ceiling. I'm not doing that today. One more full breath. And then we're going to rock onto your belly, and we'll take it to the other side. So from here, I'm going to allow you to see what that looks like on this side. So I'm extending my left arm out now, shoulder height, or if I need to lower it, I will for tight shoulder. Then I'm rocking onto that left side, my top foot behind my bottom knee. Relax the jaw and notice the space between the ear and the shoulder. And then back to your belly. We're going to press it back. Child's pose. Now, if you want to breathe into your low back, I recommend keeping the knees together. This will find more stretch here. If you want to breathe more to your hips, we'll take your knees wide. Palms can be forward, palms can be turned up. You can also bring the palms alongside by your ankles for a more passive child's pose. Take one more breath, and then we're going to walk ourselves up, shift our weight to one side, and we're going to extend our legs out in front. So we're going to come here into Janus Asana. So I'm going to take my left sole of my foot into my right thigh. You'll notice my toes are drawing back on the extended leg, but the same thing here, I'm keeping a micro bend in the extended leg. So it's a little asymmetrical. As we inhale here, exhale, you'll begin to keep the back as straight as possible. And you'll fold forward. So if your hands come to your shins or your toe, that's fine. Just finding the length. So I'm really reaching through the crown of the head. Take another breath here, and we'll come up. So that's like the traditional Janus Asana, right? So we're going to come into a variation of where I'm going to make it a little bit wider. So now you'll notice that my direction isn't over that extended leg. Now it's more towards the center. And then I'm going to kind of take a twist. So from here, first of all, I'm going to take that right forearm into the inside of my right thigh. And inhaling here, exhale, we'll take a little crescent over towards that toe. If you want to reach for it, you can. Sometimes I like to bring the palm of my hand behind my skull so I can press back into it and twist the upper body. My neck feels more protected and I feel like I have more mobility here. So just an idea. On your next inhale, allow that to bring yourself up, and then we'll take our twist. So right hand to left knee. And release the twist, and then we'll do a fun little thing here. If you want to just press your left wrist into the earth and lift the hips. And then exhale. Back. And we'll come into our Janus Asana on the opposite side. So extending my left leg now without locking the knee, toes drop back to the face. I'm squaring over that extended leg for the traditional movement first. Inhaling here and exhaling, folding. Inhale. Bring it all the way up, and this time we'll take that left leg a little bit wider, so we're kind of kind of like in a wide leg with the knee bent. Left forearm is coming to the inside of that left leg, and I'm using it to make that twist, kind of like when we were in our side angle pose. So inhale, bring the arm up, exhale, crescenting over. Maybe the hand becomes behind the skull here and you press back into it. Because we're trying not to collapse on this side that we're bending towards, although it can be difficult. So inhale, bring it all the way up. Exhale, twist. Release the twist, plant your hand, lift your hips. And then exhale, everything down. Soles of the feet towards one another and knees out to the side. We'll draw the heels into the groin. This is a more bound angle pose. This gets more to the groin in inner thigh. Inhale here. As you exhale, you can begin to fold forward. Anytime we open the groin and the hips, just be mindful of your jaw, so relax that. On your next inhale, allow your breath to bring yourself up. As you exhale, allow the knees to come together like a book and hopefully be in the middle of your mat. And you'll come down onto the back, setting yourself up for bridge pose. So in bridge pose, feet hip distance apart, knees pointing up towards the ceiling. My feet are parallel. And my hands are alongside, palms facing down, and maybe the fingertips graze the heels here. Sometimes I like to interlace behind my head and walk my shoulder blades back, just so I'm finding that I got length in my spine. It's really easy to not have the length there. And then we're going to start with some pelvic tilting. But what I mean by that is as I inhale, naturally without moving anything, the small of the back comes off the mat just slightly. As you exhale, you'll feel the pelvic tilt happen where the small of the back flattens into your mat. So it's a really small, subtle movement. And then from that small subtlety of your breath, think about on your next inhale, pressing into the knees and beginning to roll the hips and the pelvis up towards the ceiling. But we're keeping the feet parallel. And then exhale, lowering, vertebrae by vertebrae. So doing that a few more times, moving with the breath. If you want to incorporate adding the arms alongside the ears as you inhale, exhaling, the idea is that the center of the palms touch down at the same time the small of the back does. There's also tendency to have the knees kind of splay out. So if you can imagine squeezing your thighs together like you had a block in between them. Last one. This one, if you want to hold, you can. You can take cactus arms. You can even interlace if you feel open enough in your shoulders for traditional bridge pose. I'm pressing in the back of the skull. There is no weight on the cervical spine. One more breath. Exhale. Everything down. Take your feet as wide as your mat and allow your knees to come together and just observe what's going on in the body. You can begin to windshield wiper your knees from side to side, getting into the inner, growing in the outer hip. And then back to center. Hug the knees into the belly. With both palms on the knees, fingertips pointing to the toes, we're going to inhale. The arms extend straight as we exhale, knees into belly, Uttanasana. So we're letting the movement be linked to the breath here. The next time the knees come away from you, you'll be here. Maybe your arms come out into a T, palms facing up, or also cactus arms. As we exhale, we're going to drop those stacked knees over to the left, coming into a twist. Now, the stacked knee variation is the one that's safer for your low back if you got any low back stuff happening. But you're more than welcome to extend that bottom leg towards that short side of your mat, so coming into a traditional supine twist. Yogi's choice here. Either way, as you inhale here, as you exhale, allowing your bones to feel really heavy and letting go into the support of the earth. One more breath. We'll come back to center. And this time taking the stacked knees over to the opposite side. So whatever variation you took on the first side, you'll take here. So if you extended that bottom leg coming into supine twist, you can. One side might feel different than the other, and that is okay. Exhale, release it into the support of the earth. And back to center. Hug the knees into the belly. Now from here, you can bring your soles of the feet up towards the ceiling. You can come into a shoulder stand if you have shoulder stand practice. We're coming towards our last final movements. You can also pat underneath your bum if you like, palms facing down, and just come into this modified shoulder stand. You can also put a block underneath the low back. I like to think about all that grounding work that we did. And as I'm breathing from the soles of the feet all the way down into my knees, into my hips, into my groin, into my belly, into my heart, into my throat, into my crown. Then from here, with my palms underneath my bum, I'm going to stay here as I lower the legs down, coming into fish pose. Now, if you were in shoulder stand and you like to go into halasana, you can do that too, and then coming and meeting us in our modified fish pose. What I'm doing here is I'm going to press into my forearms and elbows, lift the heart, point the toes. And it's like I am bringing the crown of my head towards the earth, but there actually is no pressure on the crown of the head. And your lips kind of purse like a fish. It's the posture. This is modified. Opens the throat chakra so you can speak your truth. One more big breath. Exhale. Let it go. Me back into the earth. So from here, soles of the feet together, knees wide. First, Supta Baddha Konasana, or bound, supine bound angle pose. Now I like to think about, as I unfurled my tailbone, the length between my tailbone and the crown of the head, shoulders away from the ears, knees wide. And then happy baby. Soles of the feet up towards the ceiling, maybe rocking from side to side like a baby. Now, if there's any last postures your body is craving or wanting to do, by all means do so. But if you do any type of twisting or anything asymmetrical, you'll want to come back and maybe do a bound angle pose or happy baby. So you want something symmetrical to end. Otherwise, as you're ready, you'll begin to unfurl out into your final relaxation posture of Shavasana. Now, if being prone on the back doesn't work for you, you can always bring soles of the feet together, knees wide. I find this to be helpful. You could even put blocks or pillows underneath your thighs if they're hanging out in space. You can also take a seated position if you choose. So just find a couple of moments of seated meditation. So inhale here as you exhale, let it go. Allow everything to melt into the support of the earth. Just bring your attention back to your breath, back to your body. Inhaling fully, exhaling fully. Sending your breath all the way out to your fingers and all the way out to your toes. So if you want to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Just making some small circles with your wrists and your ankles, just waking your body up. If you're laying down, if you're seated, you can still do this. Be back to our present moment. If you're seated or laying down, inhale, take the arms out and up. Take a nice long stretch. Don't let it go with a big sigh. Do that one more time because it feels good. Let it go. And if you're lying down, you'll just start to bring the knees in and rock to one side. Just kind of coming back slowly. You're seated. Start to find a nice comfortable seat. Then we'll all meet there, eyes closed. You can bring your hands to your heart. Come back to your breath and your mind and your body. Come back to your intention that you set for yourself today, whether it be for love, gratitude, compassion, or just to be present and in the breath. What shifted for you today? Just noticing how we feel now, then as we did at the beginning of class. Just taking note. Let's thank our bodies for all of the work that they did today. I want to thank each and every one of you for just taking the time to show up. That's the hardest part. Let's inhale together fully. And as we exhale, just bow the mind to the heart. The light in me acknowledges and sees the light in you. Thanks so much for coming today. Namaste. Thank you so much for coming to class today. We went a little bit over, so I apologize. But let me know if you have any feedback. I'm welcome to that in the chat. And hopefully this will be going on for a little while, so you can always sign up at the link on my page, on my IG page. Through Burning Stage Yoga. They also offer, their nonprofit. Thank you so much for coming. And I'm really glad that you're able to join me. And they also do like a free Zumba class. So you can always sign up for them too. I went to yoga training with Jamie, who is Burning Sage Yoga. She does, she's very brilliant, Ayurvedic. She's got a lot of little workshops to do on that website as well. So I encourage you to check out their page. And I'll see you next Saturday. So have a wonderful rest of the day. Looks like the rain kind of settled. So may you enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye.